Hello! How are you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. That is usually my favorite way of saying because I know that I have people watching from all over. So, yesterday I was in a room with an amazing group of women, and one day soon we're going to gist about that room and invite you to come join me. Anyway, so I was in this room and I walked in, and a number of the women said to me, Budam, you were in my head this morning as I was getting dressed. Can you get out of my head? Someone was telling me that she was getting ready and she was about to put on a pair of shoes, and she was saying to herself, my goodness, I'm going to see Budam today. What is she going to say about my shoes? You know what? I don't care. I'm not, and I was laughing so much. And someone else was telling me how she had to paint her toenails to make sure that they looked proper, and everything looked, because they were a bit chipped, so making sure everything looked proper. Someone else was telling me how as she was putting lotion on her body, she was like, okay, Buddha says we should do this. It gave me joy, really. It gladdened my heart immensely. And we went to lunch, and I had these wonderful women. And let me tell you, these women are not in any way small women, right? They are such powerful women in their various rights, yeah. And they were sitting with me, and we were having conversations over the right way of speaking, and the right way of eating, and the right way of talking, and it just gave me such joy. It gave me such joy for a couple of reasons. I talk and teach about etiquette, right? I coach on etiquette and on grooming and on hospitality and on refinement and all these type of things. But when your name is resonating in people's heads, in their everyday lives, it just, for me, it was just like, you know what? You're becoming one with this message. And I was so excited about that. And in the same breath, in the same room, I had people sitting with me and saying, but I need you to help me build out my marketing strategy. And people say, look, BT, I want to do this and I want to do that. What do you think I can do best? And I was giving feedback in that room. I was saying, you need to change this around. You need to include this here. You need to, spread this out. We were having in-depth marketing conversations and marketing strategy discussions for their businesses. On the one hand, I was showing up fully as the etiquette queen, and on the other hand, I was showing up fully as my marketing genius. And it just goes to show the whole reason I'm here is to say shine brightly across everything that you're doing. Shine brightly. Give yourself permission to become the woman that you're created to be. You have so much on the inside of you. You really do. It's not just something we say to make you feel good. I put on my Instagram status, I think it was earlier on today, or yesterday or something, and I was saying how you are a never before seen, you are a special, one of a kind, never before seen brilliance to our world. We need you to shine brightly. What are you good at? What's your gift? What are you passionate about? What sets your heart on fire? For me, being an African woman that lives on the continent, one of the things that sets my heart on fire is seeing African women buy into patriarchal, cultural, traditional norms about how a woman should be and what a woman should do. We have conversations sometimes, and some people say, Lady BT, I think, aren't you being a bit too bold? Aren't you coming off a bit too strong? Aren't you shouting a bit too loudly? You know you're not married. this is going to be A, B, C, D, E. And when you come from a culture that glorifies things like that, and I want to put this out there, there is nothing wrong with marriage. I counsel married people. I mentor married people. I pray actively for my mentees, for myself to get into amazing marriage relationships. If you have been blessed to see relationships around me, marriage relationships around me that are great and amazing and enjoy true intimacy and are one with their spouses in every way, it is a beautiful relationship, a beautiful covenant relationship if you get it right. And we're going to have that conversation one day. And it's just going to be me and my single sisters. Maybe I'm going to do a special Zoom session. That sounds like a good idea. Special Zoom. We're going to sit down and deconstruct. I'm going to bring in a beloved sister of mine who teaches so much about marriage. Deconstruct this idolization of marriage. When you get it right, it can make the difference in your life. And if you get it wrong, it can equally make a difference in your life. And I don't know how I entered into this marriage track, but just take it like that, right? It's a great thing. But you are more than your marital status. If you're a young girl, an undergraduate in a university, there is something you have as a gift to our world. If you're in your early 20s, there is something you can bless your community, your society with. If you're in your late 20s, hey, it's not too late. There is something you can gift to our world. If you're in your early 30s, or in your late 30s, or you're in your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, there is something you can begin to do today that is an area of genius and expertise for you. That when you're thinking randomly, your heart burns with a passion to solve that particular issue. There is something you can do today to get started on that path. So I really wanted to encourage you today. You're brilliant. You really are. You are enough. Actually, you are more than enough. You have something we need desperately. If everyone showed up the way that they should show up, imagine how great our world would be. Imagine how powerful the change in society will be. We cannot rise if 50% of our population is not rising. We cannot become if 50% of our population is still being subjugated, if their voices are still being silent. Together, collectively, we need to rise. I keep on referencing this movie I watched many years ago. It's called Soul Food. And it was this older lady, I think she had maybe three daughters, and three of them were married, and they were all having their different challenges. And they were fighting, and they were bickering, and all of this stuff in the family. And I think the grandma was ill, and she was in hospital. She'd been in a coma for a while, and when she came to, one of her daughters was there with her. I remember she looked at her daughter and she said, "The family's a mess, isn't it?" And her daughter is like, "We're not doing too good." And she told that daughter that it's on you to bring the family together. The daughter was like, "Grandma, I can't. It's too difficult." And I distinctly remember her grandma held her hand this way and she said, "Family should be like a mighty fist. And if you come together like a fist, you can strike a mighty blow." Those words struck with me. I haven't seen that movie maybe in 10 or 12 years. But those words stuck with me. If women rise up together across industries, across communities, across social stratification, across countries, and we come together like a mighty fist, we can strike a mighty blow. We can make the changes we want to see in policy, for example, policy that affect women and that affect children and that affect businesses, right? That affect women of color. We can make a change in laws We can make a change in so many things. We can make a change in industry. We can do something tangible. We can better society for the next generation and the next generation and the generation after that. We cannot afford to be complacent, happy in our high fences and at our dinner parties and afternoon lunches. You are created for a lot more. And today I just want to challenge you. Rise up and become the person you were created to be. Express your genius wholly and unapologetically. Live life in color. Be brilliant. Don't just have a passion. Take that passion to school. Really understand the problem you are trying to solve. Really understand the causes, the effects. Don't just solve symptoms. Delve deeper to see if you can solve the cornerstone crisis of the area you're passionate about. Be brilliant. Be you. We need you shining brightly. And if in all the various spheres that we are called to, whether it is from your home and your homemaking to sitting on the boards of multiple companies, we need you standing in your place, head lifted high, shoulders thrown back, proudly looking out, stepping every day, manning the gates that you have been given. Ooh, what a world that would be. I live for that day. I'm working towards that day. I'm praying for that day to come. And I encourage you to do the same. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing week ahead. And I'll speak to you soon. Stay safe